If I give you a raise, everybody's gonna want a raise. And if I give them a raise, they'll still be making more money than you.
With you by chance.
No, I don't drink.
I knew it wasn't my lucky day. I said to the Lord.
Don't even bother to introduce myself. No sense saying how do to someone that's done.
Am a Pazotsky.
Oh.
You got the curse all over you, boy.
If you've ever watched a classic 70s movie or stumbled into a rerun of Sanford and Son,
Well, what about Elroy and me? Do we have animal magnetism too?
chances are you've seen Arnold Johnson. You might not know his name right off the bat, but his face? Oh, it's unforgettable. That being through some things calm and wise energy. Arnold was one of those, wait, I know that guy, actors who popped up everywhere. And while he didn't chase the spotlight or drown in award trophies, the man had range. From cult classic madness to soulful uncle vibes, Arnold brought quiet heat to every role he touched. So, who was this low-key legend? Let's dig in.
FBI, open up!
Arnold Herbert Johnson was born in Brooklyn in 1921. Being born in Brooklyn already gives you some street cred, but Arnold's story wasn't easy. He was orphaned by the time he was 4, which is straight up heartbreaking, so he was raised by a foster family. But instead of letting that define him, he flipped the script. He grew up with that inner grit that only people who've really lived have.
I created Face Off. I conceived the Borman 6, and don't forget the Mousetrap.
And get this, Arnold didn't just hustle his way through life. He actually graduated from New York University. That's not your average struggling actor path. Now, I don't know what his GPA was, but a degree from New York University in the 1940s, respect. He got his start in off-Broadway productions, where he honed those subtle but deep acting chops. You know, the kind where a single look can say, "Boy, you better not mess with me," without a single word. Arnold was never the loudest guy in the room, but you felt him every time he stepped on stage. He was building that slow burn legacy before Hollywood even knew what was coming. Every actor has that one role, the thing that takes them from, "Who's that guy again?" to, "Yo, that's him." For Arnold Johnson, that moment came in 1969 with the wildest, weirdest cult film you've probably never seen but definitely should, Putney Swope.
Put soybeans in it for protein, and we'll push it as a soft drink in the ghetto.
Now, Putney Swope wasn't your typical Hollywood flick. It was a bold and chaotic take on race, capitalism, and the advertising industry. And somehow, Arnold ended up right in the middle of it, playing the title character. Plot twist, they dubbed over his voice. Yup, director Robert Downey Sr., yes, Iron Man's dad, felt Arnold couldn't memorize the script. So instead of reshoots or cue cards, he just dubbed his own voice over Arnold's entire performance. Imagine that. You land the biggest role of your life, and someone else is literally putting words in your mouth. Savage.
How? Hold on, bro. How?
But honestly, Arnold still owned that role. He had the look, the presence, the swag. Even with someone else's voice, he made Putney Swope iconic. That's star power. The movie blew up in underground circles. It was edgy, it was hilarious, it was completely bonkers. And Arnold became a quiet legend in indie film culture. No red carpets or blockbuster money, but respect, he had it. People who knew the movie knew Arnold, and that film gave him the street cred that followed him for decades. After Putney Swope, Arnold Johnson didn't go full Hollywood diva. He played it cool, working steadily, but never selling out. You name a hit show from the 70s or 80s, Arnold probably walked through the set at some point. He was that go-to guy for serious, wise, no-nonsense black characters. Not the loud comic relief or the flashy villain. Nah, Arnold had depth. Have you ever seen Sanford and Son? Well, Arnold showed up there.
I'm looking forward to it. How much money are we gonna make, Fred?
And if you blinked, you might have missed him. But fans felt him. Same thing with Good Times.
Oh, that's nice, Michael.
And the Jeffersons.
Some good times, weren't they, Georgie? The best years of my life.
Dude made cameos like it was a full-time job, and then came Shaft.
The one in the funky plaid coat had his hands in his coat pocket, pulled his coat tight.
No, not the reboot. The original 1971 classic. Arnold played Cull, the Harlem bookie. Small role, big impact. His scenes had that weight, that I've seen things energy. He didn't need 30 lines of dialogue, just one look, and you knew he meant business. Honestly, that was his whole vibe. He wasn't trying to steal the scene, but somehow he did it anyway. Then, in 1981, he showed up on The Jeffersons as George's Uncle Bubby.
Don't you never talk like that about your mama. She was the finest lady I ever knew.
Again, low-key character, high-key presence. He wasn't there to play around. Remember Rocky?
You're bleeding inside, Jan. I'm gonna stop the fight.
Yep, Arnold popped up in Rocky II as a cutman in Apollo Creed's corner. A blink and you'll miss it role. But still, he was in Rocky. That's like a Hollywood badge of honor. Later, he played roles in movies like The Five Heartbeats and Menace II Society.
Hank, do you care whether you live or die?
He even had a recurring role on the 90s hit show Family Matters, where he played Fletcher Thomas.
Good night, Fletcher.
Sweet dreams, Estelle.
Dude stayed booked. He may not have been a household name, but he was a working actor for decades. He didn't have a personal assistant or get mobbed by paparazzi. He just showed up, delivered, and dipped. That's old school professionalism, the kind that barely exists anymore. After decades in the industry, Arnold kept things pretty low-key. He took fewer roles in the late 90s, but you know what? He earned that break. So what did Arnold Johnson do when the camera stopped rolling? He stepped away from the spotlight. But that was by choice, not because he faded away or couldn't keep up. Arnold was never chasing fame or red carpets. He just went on living his life, quietly and on his own terms. He had been putting in work since the 60s, steady, reliable, and always showing up with that calm, commanding energy. There's something respectable about someone who didn't need a scandal or viral moment to stay relevant. As for his personal life, well, let's just say Arnold wasn't the air all your drama in public type. No tell-all interviews, no Hollywood love triangles plastered across tabloids. Honestly, the man was a vault. He kept his personal circle tight and his business tighter. But from what folks who worked with him said, he was kind, professional, and straight up classy. The type to remember your name on set and give you a nod like you belong there. He never married a Kardashian or started a messy beef. He lived life like he acted, with quiet confidence. Even as younger, flashier actors came and went, Arnold held his own, aging with grace and a touch of that old-school swag. Arnold Johnson passed away in 2000 at the age of 78 in Los Angeles. There were no major headlines, no grand Hollywood tribute, just a quiet exit, true to how he lived most of his life. His net worth was never made public, and honestly, that tracks. Arnold was never about the flash or the fame, but don't get it twisted. For real fans and those who know their classic black cinema and TV, Arnold Johnson's name still carries real weight. Arnold Johnson might not have been splashed across magazine covers or hosting late-night talk shows, but that doesn't mean he wasn't a legend. In fact, he was part of the backbone of black television and film, one of those actors who kept it all together, even when he was only on screen for a few minutes. He left behind a body of work that quietly shaped how black actors were seen in TV and film. Respectable, grounded, real. So yeah, Arnold Johnson took his final bow in 2000, but he didn't fade. His roles are still out there, still being streamed, still being studied, and when you spot him in a rerun or an old film, there's this moment of, yo, that's Arnold, that's legacy. He may not have shouted his presence from the rooftops, but the industry heard him loud and clear.